Good evening, I'm Kevin Christopher.
And I'm Haley Harmon, in tonight for Nancy Cox. Thanks for joining us at 6. At 9:30 last night, a Northern Kentucky man called his mother, telling her he was lost in the Red River Gorge.
He hasn't been seen or heard from since, and crews are desperately trying to find him. Kylan Mills brings us the latest about that search in the big story at 6.
We're here along the Bison Way Trail, where we have search and rescue crews from 4 different counties all working and scouring this area to try to find 29-year-old Les Reynolds. Powell County search and rescue leaders say 29-year-old Reynolds was here camping at the gorge when he called his mom around 9:30 last night saying that he was lost. At 10:30, Reynolds was supposed to meet his cousin at the start of the trail, but he never showed up. Rescue crews did find his campsite in this area, but still no sign of him. We're told Reynolds was an avid hiker and camper from Florence, Kentucky. They say his family is very worried because he has a head injury from a car crash and is schizophrenic, and he hasn't had his medication for 24 hours.
Really sad.
I can't imagine how scared they were. Like, because it's dark in there now because there's so many trees. And I can't imagine, like, how dark it is at night. Like, you couldn't see anything. That's horrible.
Darkness is always a factor, especially if you've been lost. You panic, and you tend to turn yourself back around in circles.
Search and rescue leaders tell us they plan to stay out here as long as possible, if need be, through the night until they find him. Covering the news in Menifee County from the LEX 18 Mobile Newsroom, back to you.
After a deep cleaning, the food court at the Fayette Mall has reopened. Monday, it closed down when more than 200 people complained about getting sick after eating there.
And records show when it happened, every restaurant there had a passing inspection score. Passing, but not necessarily perfect. LEX 18's Carolina Buchek has looked over all of those inspection reports and joins us now in studio with you.
Well, the health department still doesn't know exactly what caused so many people to get sick, but they suspect it was some type of stomach bug. They say it's safe to eat there now because everything was cleaned and sanitized, but some people, well, they still may feel a little bit uneasy about it. The good news is these pages upon pages of health inspection scores reveal a lot about the restaurants. The Fayette Mall food court features 11 different restaurants.
At this point, Fayette Mall is probably the safest place to eat in Lexington just because of everything that has been required of them.
Each one of the restaurants gets a visit from the health department at least twice a year. Records show they have been inspected at least once in 2018, and some did better than others. A&W and Gold Star Chili were the only ones to get a perfect score at their last inspection. Charlie's Philly Steak got a 99, while Chick-fil-A, Moe's, and Sarku Japan got a 98. 1 point behind them was Sbarro's and Subway at 97. Records show they only received what health inspectors consider smaller infractions, meaning their score would be displayed in a green box.
The postings make it easy. Anytime it's a green score, we consider that a passing score. If it's a red score, it's not a passing score. And
records show 2 of the restaurants at the food court did not get a passing score this year. Chow Cajun got a 91. It got a 5-point deduction for potentially hazardous food. Asian 2 Express got an 82, including big violations for hand washing and hygienic practices, as well as sanitizing food equipment and utensils.
Those are the ones that we would be most concerned of.
Both restaurants had to have follow-up inspections, and they both passed. Lyle's Barbecue is also at the food court, but it just opened this month, so its health inspection score was not in the records yet. One more thing to remember, health inspectors say when you're looking at these grades, you need to take into account 2 different things. This number up here, you want it to be as high as possible, but the color of this box is also important because even if it's a high score, say a 95, if it's in red, that means the restaurant received a critical infraction. Back to you.
Good information, yeah. Thanks.
Oh, absolutely. Carolina, thank you. After months in storage, the Confederate statues that were once located in downtown Lexington now have a new home.
LEX 18's Michael Burke has more from the Lexington Cemetery.
For Gerald Back, this is personal.
My great-great-granduncle, his wife was captured by the Yankees.
Mr. Back said she was pregnant at the time and killed 2 weeks later.
I have family all over this graveyard.
You do?
Yeah. and most of them were Confederate.
Last night, the statues of Confederates John C. Breckinridge and John Morgan Hunt were removed from storage and placed here at the Lexington Cemetery after spending more than a century near the courthouses downtown.
It's our history, and we should be proud. Okay, it wasn't, some people disagree with it, you know, we had a major civil war, but it's part of what made this country what it is.
But the former home of those statues was a site where slaves were once auctioned before the Civil War. And because of that, many felt a new home was warranted.
It's a compromise.
It's a beautiful place. I guess if you had to move them, this might be the place to move it.
A piece of Lexington's history relocated and rewritten on a July Tuesday night. Covering the news in Lexington, Michael Burke, LEX 18 News.
$106,000 in private donations were used to facilitate the relocation of both statues. The mayor's office and the cemetery declined to comment about the move.
That for a beautiful looking latter part of the afternoon. A lot of blue sky out there. We've got one there right there is a little decorator cloud. A few folks are seeing a little more robust version of that where they're getting a quick shower out of the deal. We'll look at the MaxTrack Live Doppler in a second. It's been a terrific day, and we're looking at our temperatures still hanging mid-80s. 85 right now in Lexington. That's right smack dab in the middle of the 80s. Frankfurt's at 86, Richmond 84, so is London, so is Monticello for that matter. And you're looking at an 82 coming out of Jackson. All righty, the MaxTrack Live Doppler. You can find them. They show up those like little red dots. Those are the quick little showers that are around. Strong as these dropping south out of Lewis County. That'll clip parts of Rowan County. One now just west of Moorhead. It's going to be around Farmers there on I-64. A few more showers southern part of Rowan County as well, not far from Caverton Lake. I mean, little is the operative word on these. Maybe a little sprinkle there south of Boonville, also just to the east there of Manchester. Future track. Looking at a nice evening out there. Sky will be mainly clear. That's important. We're going to give you a reason to look up in a couple of minutes, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Okay, Bill, thank you very much.
Now to an update about a shooting investigation in Madison County.
One person had to be taken to the hospital after the shooting on Villa Drive in Richmond this afternoon. That's near the intersection of the Eastern Bypass and Gibson Bay Drive. Catherine Collins is in Richmond tonight with the very latest.
Richmond police are trying to determine if a shooting that happened here on Villa Drive this afternoon was an accident or not. Police say one man suffered non-life-threatening injuries to his hand after the shooting. Neighbors told me they've heard the shooting was accidental, but police are trying to determine exactly what happened. Police do say the street here is safe. One neighbor I spoke to says it was a shock to see such a big police presence here.
No, there's normally never any cops out here. Anything like that. This is a very quiet neighborhood.
And the neighbors I spoke to say they're glad to hear it sounds like the person who was injured is going to be okay. Covering the news in Madison County from the LEX 18 Mobile Newsroom. Back to you.
Two signs from an iconic Madison County business have been stolen in the past couple of months, and now one family needs your help.
Bybee Pottery has been in the same family for the past 200 years, and now they are offering a reward for information that leads to arrests. Jacqueline Nye reports.
Bybee Pottery says they've had 2 signs stolen within the past couple of months. The latest sign was stolen within the past week, and it used to sit right up here. 200 years of family history.
I am the 6th generation of my family to have worked here. I drew my first check when I was 11 years old from my grandfather. My father was the master potter.
Although Bybee Pottery has been closed for a few years, Jimmy Cornelison says he comes here to unwind, and it was just a couple days ago he noticed another sign was gone.
If they really wanted something from Bybee Pottery, if they'd have pulled in here, I would have given them something.
Cornelison believes the tools he found near the spot the sign was stolen from will lead him to the suspects.
2 pairs of pliers, I guess they used to pull nails out, in a hammer that says art room on it. I mean, it's painted on their art room.
It's more than just a sign. It's a piece of their family's history.
This is home. Don't come to my home and steal from me and let me find out who you are.
If you have any information in this case, you're asked to contact the Madison County Coroner, Jimmy Cornelison, at coronerjc@aol.com. Covering the news in Madison County from the LEX 18 Mobile Newsroom. Back to you.
Undefeated 2018 Triple Crown winner Justify has retired from racing. Justify's owners and trainer made the announcement this afternoon. Justify, of course, was the first undefeated Triple Crown winner since Seattle Slew. Keith Farmer's going to have much more about the champion racehorse's retirement coming up in sports.
Boosting tourism is a big goal for some folks in Estill County, and one group there thinks they have found the right way to do it.
A preview of this weekend's first-time event is next on LEX 18 News at 6.